I was a little bit disappointed, and I do have to say that.
All right, very interesting, Sylvia, there, of course, with the last name Garcia, Reggie, which, as we know, is in the top 10 most common names now in the U.S.
It is. An interesting statistic that I don't think a lot of people realize. Let's see what some of the folks at home on Facebook thought about the special last night. Alex writes in that he watched it, he liked it a lot, and he did think it was an accurate representation of what it's like to be Latin in America. Our next one goes to Hale, who writes, "It certainly resembles the life of first-generation immigrants," echoing some of our panelists right now. "Subsequent generations tend to be in better conditions. I've seen this in many families." And another one from Manny, who writes in, "Actually, I felt for the guy that was mixed African and Latino. I tell you, who cares what color we are? One day the entire population on Mother Earth is going to be the same color." Now, that is an interesting statement made right there, because it kind of speaks to the one world, one country sort of thing. But let me just throw this back to Rachel, because isn't it important, though, to still understand that we all come from different places, we have distinct cultures that need to be preserved?
Absolutely, and I'm very proud of my Latino culture. I speak Spanish. I love Mexican food. I love Spanish food. I'm very involved in a lot of Latino issues, but for me, I ultimately see myself very American, and in that I'm Latina makes me very American, because I think it is about this melting pot. So I don't think that saying that I'm American first is in any way denying my culture. I'm proud of my culture, but I'm also very proud to be an American, and I don't really see a conflict there at all.
And Rachel, you're talking about being an American there, and we do know that polls show that Latinos in general have the same priorities as the rest of the communities in the United States. In the documentary, they said that one of those issues that is often labeled as a Latino issue, the immigration issue, is an issue but not the issue. I do want to draw your attention to a poll that we have out just today that speaks to illegal immigration, because it does have some quite interesting data. It finds that 3/4 of all Americans are now calling for a decrease in the number of illegal immigrants in the country. That's actually the highest number since CNN started asking this question 4 years ago. Kathy, I'm wondering if you can just weigh in on why you think there is this increase.
I think they're almost like kicking the dog. When they don't have a good day at work, they come home and they kick the dog. So when things aren't going so well in the economy, they're losing jobs, their financial situation isn't so great, at least they could say, at least I'm not Hispanic, at least I'm not an illegal immigrant. So I think we're calling these people the bottom of the barrel, and we're just almost kicking them. I think that's why you have that hatred. Chris Rock always makes a funny joke that prejudice started because people said, well, my situation's bad, but at least I'm not black. I mean, I think that's what's happening now. Well, things are bad, but at least I'm not Hispanic or illegal immigrant. So I think that's what that poll reflects.
And perhaps, can I just say that perhaps the poll reflects that so many of us are assimilated, that, you know, even in Maricopa County, where my family and my friends are from, where the immigration issue is hot, I know plenty of Latinos and Mexican Americans who are second, third generation who are actually a little bit supportive of Arpaio, and they're concerned more about the crime levels that are going on and the decrease in social services that illegal immigration brings about. And I think that that's a very I don't think that's a self-hatred as a Latino. I think that what that represents is a real assimilation, and the fact that these second and third generation Latinos are maybe having more in common with their neighborhood than they are with necessarily a race or a culture here in the United States. They have more in common with their second and third generation Latinos. They have more in common with their neighbors who might be of other races than the first generation Latinos that are dealing with issues of illegal immigration. So that might be a positive about our assimilation.
And as we look forward, and you're talking about the generation coming after generation, Sylvia, I'd just like to ask you to wrap things up, if you would, for us. We have a meeting today of La Raza. They're going to be talking about this report that shows that while Latino children will make up almost half of U.S. children by 2030, they'll, make up a third of U.S. children by 2030. They'll actually represent half of all children living in poverty. Sylvia, what do you think we can do to improve the prognosis here and to ensure that things are moving to the positive side as we go, through the generations?
Definitely education. I mean, education is the number one, weapon that we have against poverty. And, we need to get a little bit more involved and with these children. And, it's, again, going back to the special yesterday, it was just devastating to see that the two female kids that were portrayed yesterday, they were both pregnant girls. And I think one of the pieces of education is to actually educate America as a whole, and educate them as far as Hispanics, as far as we're very hardworking individuals. We're the people that have come here have come to work hard to support their families, and they're Americans. We ran a poll about a couple weeks ago saying, what do you want to be called? Latinos, Hispanics, or just call me American? We had 65% of the people say, just call me